to Merryfield's Gardening Advisor, brought to you by the experts at Merryfield Garden Center. Join us as we discover beautiful plants, new trends, and exciting ideas for your landscape. So let's get growing together. Merryfield's Gardening Advisor, bringing out the best in your garden.
It comes in from the middle.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Merryfield's Gardening Advisor. We are so glad you could join us today. It is a busy time of year, but it is a wonderful time of year. The holidays are here. Officially here. We're in Hanukkah right now. Christmas is a few short days away. We've got Kwanzaa coming. We've got the New Year. So it's a time of celebration. It's a time of peace and love and joy and family. So we have our Merryfield's Gardening Advisor family here today. We have Peg Beer. Good morning, Peg.
Good morning, everybody.
David Yost. Good morning.
Good morning, Debbie. So happy everybody could be here with us today.
Absolutely. And we've brought back today my brother, Kevin Warhurst. Thank you for being here. You're back. We're back.
Thank you for having me for the Christmas program.
That's right, when you're so good.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Well,
Good to be here.
We had so much fun talking about the book last week, and people were, just saying, we want to hear stories. We want to hear stories. So we thought, what a perfect thing to do. So we just figured we'd all kind of talk about some stories, and later on in the show, Diane will be with us, and she'll have a story or two as well. We're going to be talking about a few things else extra too, great gift ideas.
Well, we are, as you said, we're right down here to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is only 5 days away, so we're going to share several ideas that you might be able to use for that last-minute gift-giving idea. I know I'm here talking about specifically some areas for the birds, bird seeds and bird feeders, and I know Peggy's got some great ideas as well.
Yes, some things that correlate.
That's right.
To
some
birds.
Fun things.
And
Yes,
plants
some
and
fun.
more.
Right.
Plants and more,
Right.
always.
Absolutely. Well, before we get started, just a few quick announcements. Wanted to let you know about our hours for the rest of the holiday season. We'll be open today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. On Wednesday, Christmas Eve, we'll be open. We'll close at 5. Be closed Christmas Day, of course. Then we'll open up on the 26th at 7 a.m. We'll be open from 7 to 7 for our annual after Christmas sale. So hope you take advantage of that. Great bargains, 40 to 60% off on the holiday items. So after Christmas, be thinking in those terms. And then our regular winter hours will begin on the 27th, and that'll be 8 to 6 during the week and 9 to 5 on Sundays. And then next week we'll talk about New Year's. Wanted to remind you that Santa is here through this weekend. I believe Santa is here on Tuesday at the Merryfield, and
Well, it depends on store by store. It
right.
varies.
So just check the website, merryfieldgardencenter.com. We've got different schedules at each location, so hard to keep them straight.
Yeah, but I have to say, remind everybody, I know a lot of my friends are sick of hearing this, it's not Christmas until you've had your picture with Santa.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's
So
right.
it's this weekend,
Exactly.
or do or die.
That's right. And we are collecting toys at each of the locations, of course, for the needy. So if you have anything that you'd like to contribute, we'd love to take that
help.
for you. Please do. And while you're there, I want to remind you, I don't have a calendar with me right here, but stop by and pick up your Merryfield Garden Center calendar. So lots going on at Merryfield Garden Center leading up to the holidays. So it's a hectic time of year, but it's a fun time of year.
And those gardening calendars, by the way, have lots of great gardening tips.
They do.
So it's not just something to keep track of the days and weeks and months, but good information for all the gardeners out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned before, we had so much fun, Kevin, with you last week.
Thank you.
Talking about the book and stories. People have been coming in. It's been so nice seeing everybody coming in when Dad's signing the books, things that they're telling him and about the book and about the past and that type of thing. So we thought it would be fun to share some of our favorite stories from the book. So Peggy, you've got a cute one to start off
The
with.
reminiscing, yes. As I was going through the book, and I've been around for a long time.
That's right.
as part of this Merryfield family. And I've heard Bob tell a lot of these stories, but they really tie in so well, Kevin, with everything that you had to say last week.
Thank you.
About the inspiration and so forth. And so I couldn't resist beginning with this one because this is at the beginning of the book. Bob, called Bobby, realized his family was poor when they didn't get anything for Christmas. It made me sad, he says now. I would dream of having a red wagon. Bobby knew those dreams, like the dreams of millions of other kids in those rough times, had little chance of coming true. But dreams are free. And he had plenty of them, along with a strong sense of self-confidence. And so this plays really very much into what Kevin had to say last week about all of the inspiration, hard work, but inspiration to get that job done and to move on to something. And when I thought about this red wagon, I thought, oh my goodness. Kevin, can you help me with this?
Sure can.
It's a mini red wagon.
Little mini red radio flyer.
I just couldn't resist this. Red wagons are very much a part of our life.
They are.
Very much. And that red wagon that he did not get when he was a little boy, now there is a fleet.
That's right. He's got them now.
But there's more to it than that. It plays definitely into the story because he knew they would work.
Right.
The children pull them. The children ride in them. And they're often filled with plants.
Yep.
And so it helps keep us going, those plants, but it has brought pleasure. And this was part of this man's thinking.
Absolutely. It's amazing because, like you said, there are a fleet at each of the 3 stores. The red wagon, in addition to some traditional carts that we have, is how most people carry their plants around or pick up select plants and wheel them around the garden center and come to the checkout. So that dream, like you said, dreams are free. And so when he was a young boy growing up and didn't have toys, and that red wagon, it never left him. So it was not only, it had a utilitarian function, but also in its own way helped fulfill part of his dream. Now he's got a whole fleet of red wagons for our customers to enjoy.
But this is how the story plays out, and
Right.
I just thought that was one of the best.
Absolutely.
Now I realize we're all seeing here the book.
Yes.
Kevin, I think you need to introduce what the book is all about.
Absolutely. Well, again, for those of you who didn't tune in last week, we've written a book about my father, and it's called The American Dream, The Rags to Roses Story of Bob Warhurst and the Founding of Merrifield Garden Center. Working on the project, as I said last week, has really been a labor of love, and it's a story about an amazing journey of an amazing man's life, but it's also about Merrifield Garden Center, which is a well-known Washington institution with our 3 stores in Northern Virginia. We've been in business for almost 44 years, and our dad, Bob, and our mom, Billie Jean, and their partners, Buddy and Doris Williams, put their blood, sweat, and tears into it from the very beginning, from April 9th, 1971, all the way up to today. It's been a great opportunity to build a business and to work hard and to give back to the community and be a part of something beautiful. You know, there's not many more businesses that are more rewarding than the beauty of nature and plants and trees and flowers. You know, nurturing the earth, and they provide oxygen and take in the carbon dioxide, and they create beauty, aesthetic value, and they beautify the outside, they warm us on the inside. So it's a great, beautiful business to be in, and this book documents his journey from being a bricklayer to a trash collector to a secondhand store owner to eventually a garden center owner.
Right.
So what started out as trash came to the beauty of plants.
That's right.
And it's just been a wonderful journey and a wonderful ride.
And it's beautifully written. I think that Sharon and Sal Rubel did a magnificent job.
They really did. Sharon and Sal Rubel, a husband and wife team, are award-winning journalists. They worked for a number of years at USA Today, covering the Olympics and adventure sports. And if you think about it, Bob Warhurst's story is an adventure sport. I mean, it's when you start out, and that's one of the things that I wanted to read if we have time.
Why don't we hold
Okay, you wanna do that?
Yeah,
All right.
let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and share some more stories.
All right.
We'll be right back
Let's
with
do it.
you. Welcome back to Maryfield's gardening advisor. The gang plus one is
The gang's all here.
And we've been sharing some stories and anecdotes from the American Dream, which is just such a wonderful book. Now, Kevin, you wanted to share something.
What I wanted to say, because the story of our dad's life and the story of the journey that started him out from a hardscrabble life in rural Alabama in the years right after the Great Depression and the rebuilding years that followed, onto a journey that brought him up to Virginia in 1955 and ultimately starting Maryfield Garden Center in 1971, all the way up to the present, with 3 locations, 750 staff members who we consider part of the Maryfield family. That journey took its path and to me, when you read through the book, and these are stories that I've heard all my life, and I think it's worth noting when we're talking about the book, the first question comes is, why write the book? Well, not only is it an amazing life story, an amazing journey, but we've heard so many people over the years say, when they would hear his story, you ought to write a book about it. You ought to write a book about it. So we did. So to me, that journey started, a kind of a key turning point in that journey was when he was 7 years old, when he got his first job at Hendricks grocery store, and he worked for a woman named Miss Annie Mae Hendricks. And he went down there and asked for his first job. So imagine that, 7 years old. So at the age of 7, Bobby summoned up the courage to ask her for a job. She smiled a big smile and in a kind voice explained that he was too young to work. But Bobby didn't take no for an answer. He showed up the next day and began working for free to show his worth. He stocked shelves, swept the floors, carried out trash, delivered goods to customers on his bicycle, and even helped Miss Annie Mae put on her shoes. I was big for my age, he recalls. I was 7, but I looked 9, and I felt like 9. I could lift a 50-pound feed bag with no trouble. I was strong and fast. I ran everywhere. I knew I could be an asset. Well, a couple of weeks later, he wins her over, and she hires him. And that's where he got his first glimpse into what it took to take care of customers and run a business.
At 7 years old.
7 years old. And
Customer relations, that's where it began.
But that determination and that stick-to-itness that we were talking about that he shows as at the ripe age of 7. So he says, after doing that, after 2 weeks, she couldn't do without me.
Right.
She would holler out behind the counter, "Bobby Ray, come put on my shoes."
Yeah.
So there's a person, and that's one of the things that my father feels so gratified by, from not only having customers that he's enjoyed helping over the years and talking to about gardening and everything there is to do with the landscape, but these same people who are coming in, reading the book, and giving him feedback about what the story means to them and how they want to share that story of inspiration and motivation with other people.
Right.
It's stories like this that point to that, and to him, I think he takes great pride in saying, "Hey, I just did what came natural to me." But if that resonates with people, especially for some people who are maybe trying to figure out what they want to do in this world, you don't have to sit around and try to think the big thoughts and figure it out. As he would say, just get to work and work hard and save your money and do your best, and everything kind of naturally follows from there.
That's right. That has been his philosophy all along.
Right.
Yeah, it really is an amazing story, and I just want to say, of course, for me, there was never a moment's doubt that I was going to buy the book and read it. I take a lot of pride that I actually got the first signed copy. I was the very first in the row. Actually, I nudged in and had to have one of the customers wait behind me. I know that's not the customer service fee, but it was important that I got the first copy. It's out there. But of course, I'm reading because, hey, that's my boss, and he's my friend, and it's my friends, and the story that's there. So there's never any doubt there. But as I was reading it and going through this, what I started really getting engaged with is what I call the historical aspects in the local history. A lot of people watch the show know I have an interest in history. I lived and I grew up in this area, and as I'm reading about this, I'm reading about your parents going to the Tops and some of these local places, going duck pin bowling at Playmore Lanes and stuff. I mean, these are things I haven't thought about in probably 30, 35 years.
Yeah.
And the local history, and again, I give kudos to Sal and Sharon, the authors of this book, The American Dream, because they put little tidbits of history in there, anywhere from the history of the garbage disposal, and you figure, well, how does that fit into the story? But a man that grew up without electricity or plumbing in the trash business, it fits.
Right.
It goes into national politics and little tidbits of information. So next thing you know, I'm buying it for a Christmas gift for others and that type of thing. And people have never been to Maryfield Garden Center, but I think they're just going to enjoy the story.
Right.
I was glad to hear
Yeah.
you say that.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful working on it, and it's been even more fun to read it back.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I haven't been able to read the entire book. I've read it several times in bits and pieces as we were
Drafting through it,
drafting
yeah.
it. But I mean, I'm looking forward to after the holidays when I can sit down and read it from top to bottom, front to back. But I wanted to share some. I mean, there's several stories in here, of course, but something that really says what Dad is all about. And let me just read this. It said, Bob was always looking for fun things that his family could do together. On July 4th, 1980, Bob strolled into the backyard of his Vienna home with his son Rob. Sweeping his outstretched arms across the yard, Bob turned to Rob and asked, "Would you guys like a swimming pool?" And I remember this like it was yesterday. Rob answered with an emphatic yes. So Bob designed a kidney-shaped pool and jacuzzi, but he didn't intend to build it himself because he had never done it before. He reached out to some local pool contractors and found a guy who could do the job for $25,000. But his work schedule was so crowded he couldn't build the Warhurst pool until the following year. So, you know, here we're kids, we're looking forward
Right
to this,
now.
this
He
pool. And
wants everything right now.
I think this was in late May or June that he was talking about this. He called another contractor and received the same bad news. Not this year. Bob doesn't take no for an answer, so he found a couple of pools under construction, carefully observed what the workers were doing, and decided that he could build his own pool. Bob's not one for lengthy contemplation. He's a man of action. So here's where I come in. After being out of town for several days, Bob's daughter Debbie was surprised to come home and find several big trucks at the house. I thought, what's going on? We had our landscaping done the year before, Debbie said. I walked in the backyard and there was a hose put together in the shape of a kidney, a huge, and I think there was part of some of the digging had begun too. I should have realized that if Dad couldn't get the swimming pool done, he'd do it himself, which is Dad.
He
You know,
did.
He can
Absolutely.
do anything and everything, and it's just amazing to see that. So I mean, I just felt like that really
Determine
plays
a
into
vision through this entire thing, the vision. Is there time to bring up those couple of pictures?
Yeah, let's do that.
I really think that this is so important too. If we can bring up the picture of the trash.
There's the trash truck.
I was.
blue.
This was an amazing story, and I don't know just which of the children is. He's painting this with some spray paint.
Doing some touch-up work there.
He looked around at all of the houses that were going up in our neighborhood because we all lived in the same neighborhood.
Right.
And he thought to himself, this is the vision. He thought to himself, they will need to have their trash removed. And so he started a trash business. But how did he acquire that? The next picture that we have in line shows you how he did that. He had a horse because he always loved horses, and so he decided that he would go from house to house to drum up his customers.
Right.
And he enjoyed doing that, of course. It didn't cost any gasoline to do that, okay? But more than anything else, he was smart enough to know that this attracted attention.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so that was a fascinating story, too.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Kevin, you mind staying for a little bit longer?
Sure, I'll
with
hang
us?
on one more segment.
That
then I'll-
sounds great. Okay, we'll be right back. There's my dad, Bob Warhurst, in the very early days. That's probably the first or second year, probably.
Yeah.
There at the Gallows Road location of Merrifield Garden Center. So that was the humble beginnings, and it's grown today. Again, we were talking about this wonderful new book, The American Dream: The Rags to Roses Story of Bob Warhurst and the Founding of Merrifield Garden Center. So there's a little bit about everything in this book, which is great. We have a couple more pictures we're going to just show real quickly. I love this picture. Look at Peggy there.
Oh, my word.
She didn't know I was putting that up.
Is that you, Debbie?
That's me. That's me. And Wanda and Dad and Rob and Buddy is on there. David, Roy, and Tom Harley. It looks like. Oh, and Kathy Grunwell on the side there. So that was at a home and garden show, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
That was at the old Washington Convention
That would
Center.
have been 81.
That was the old Washington Convention Center before the present day one was built.
Right.
But, you know, looking at a picture like that brings back, you know, I think it's an important time to point out that, you know, the story of Merrifield Garden Center and the story of Bob Warhurst's life and the founding of Merrifield Garden Center, which is what this book is all about. This book, if you like human interest stories, this is a book for you. If you like a rags to roses story, this is a book for you. If you like history, like David's talking about, local history in particular, this is a book for you. And if you like gardening and you like the whole idea of everything that nature and beauty has to offer, which is obviously, as viewers of this program, The Gardening Advisor, this book is for you.
Right.
So, but when you look at a picture of all the employees who have been at Merrifield so long, including people like Peggy Beer and Howard Saunders and David Watkins and Tim Guy and so many others that have been there for almost 40 years.
Right.
My dad would be the first one to say, he's 76 years old now, still comes into the nursery every day. It's absolutely his love and his passion, and he loves interacting with customers, but he would tell you it's the people like that and all the people who have, like David Yost and all the other people in between, who have put their heart and soul into Merrifield Garden Center. And I just wanted to read one quick passage that to me kind of sums up a lot about the story and a lot about my dad. This comes in the last chapter, actually. Bob is single-minded and gets what he wants. He is clear in his vision and explains in detail so others can see where he wants to go. He knows that he needs the expertise of others when he ventures into areas where he doesn't have a lot of experience. In both size and personality, Bob is a big man. He remembers his roots, but he does not trip over them. He asks common-sense questions when analyzing complex problems, often to the chagrin of self-proclaimed experts. Bob sees the big picture and the horizon beyond it, anticipating action and reaction. Thanks to his days of hard manual work, he believes the devil is in the details, whether it's knowing how one brick is stacked on another and held together by mortar, or knowing the tax implications of a multi-million-dollar bank loan. If Bob has a special power, it is the power to see the future of a prospective employee, someone who joined what Bob likes to affectionately call the Merrifield family, which encompasses all of his workers. Folks, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk to you last week and today. It's been a true joy working on this project and celebrating my dad's life in print. And I want to thank each and every one of you, whether you choose to get the book or not. We thank you for your business. We thank you for your friendships. And we thank you for being part of our life, both in our personal lives and our life at Merrifield Garden Center. We're so proud of Bob Warhurst. We're so proud of his story. But again, we're not on here trying to toot our own horn. We're here to try to share the story that we think gardeners will enjoy, and we've just heard such great feedback about it. I know you all are here to talk about gift giving, and we'll move on to that, and great stocking stuffer ideas and gift giving ideas. But for what it's worth, I think if you like to read, we have paperback copies and we have hardcover. My dad would be delighted to sign them for people. He signs them every day. He's at the Garden Center, and he enjoys doing it. So thanks again for having me on to talk about it.
It was great. It was great. Now, he's played a huge role in all of our lives, the viewers and everything else.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here teaching
We're so glad you are.
and doing my dream.
That's right. That's right. It's
It isn't
everybody's
just
American
his dream.
That's right.
But it's encouragement that regardless of who you are or what your education is, if you are willing to work hard and have a vision and follow that vision, you can have the American dream.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, David, let's take a look at some more. I mean, this is a great gift, but we've got more great gifts.
Absolutely. And we know we're down here. It's sort of the final countdown. And I thought something that, of course, it is easy to pick up last minute, and everybody of all ages and backgrounds can enjoy. That is feeding the birds. So I've got a little picture here to kind of kick off the conversation. And this part of the thing, if quickly bring up that picture, I think this is some pictures that Peggy provided for us of showing birds at the feeder. It's a wonderful pastime to sit there and be able to watch them out of your window. And like I said, this is something that people, all ages, backgrounds, and anybody can enjoy. So you can just see there, a couple the birds, whether it's goldfinches or cardinals or the chickadees that are a joy to watch during the wintertime. So that's just kind of get everybody inspired. We're going to probably have to take a little break coming up here, but come back, we'll talk about more types of feeders and bird seed and mixes and all the stuff that we need to bring them up to our back doors.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, we'll be right back. So thank you for joining us today. And Kevin has just left, but we were so appreciative of having him here. I forgot to mention that Dad is going to be doing book signings today from 10 to noon at Fair Oaks, and tomorrow from 10:30 to noon at Gainesville. So take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So we're talking about gifts. Birding gifts.
Exactly, and Peggy was just about, we looked at a couple pictures, and that's right out Peggy's back window, and I wanted to just cover a couple of the basics in terms of selecting a bird feeder. This happens to be the one that we were looking at in the previous
very
picture.
similar to that, just above my kitchen sink where I can really see them, and I love it.
Oh, I know, it's so wonderful this time of year. What I wanted to point out, and this is just basics, but I'm not a bird expert, but what happens, that's sort of one of my jobs, is keeping after that section in the store. So what I wanted to point out is just some of the basics in terms of selecting a bird feeder. Essentially, this is a mixed seed tube feeder. This is about as basic and rudimentary as a feeder it works. Has good capacity, it's in there. But what I want to point out is this feeding port that's here allows the birds to perch on there. And when I say mixed seed, you can put anything that has sunflower seed in there, peanuts, millet, any type of seed will go through this type of feeder. By contrast, I just sort of want to point out, these are two very basic designs. This is what's called a thistle feeder. I'm going to switch. Maybe you can take that. This holds the little small Niger seed that's in here. The feeding tubes are so small you can't really even see them on TV. A tiny, tiny little port that's in here, because this is designed specifically for thistle feed by itself. So what I'm trying to get here, in some sense, your feeder needs to match the seed mix that you're using.
Right.
And they're going to be really one of these two basic types based on the size of bird seed that you're using. Now, we carry a big, big selection of different bird seed at the garden center. But the couple that I want to show in here is, this is one that's made by Kohl's bird seed mix. If you look in here, this is one they call their Blue Ribbon Blend. It's designed to attract the biggest diversity of birds that's in there. And if you look at and you see black oil sunflower seeds, some cracked corn, a little bit of safflower in there, millet. This is a typical blend that you would say would be a good mixed seed for any of those mixed seed feeders. Just by contrast, I also brought in the Niger seed. This Niger seed that you can tell is very, very small. If you put that in the mixed seed feeder, it's just going to spill right out to the ground. So it's really one of those two basic ones. Of course, the goldfinches love this Niger seed, so you can go after that, or you can get one of these general mixes to go for a wide, broad range of birds.
And I tell you, bird seed is a great Christmas gift. This is, my mother-in-law in Pennsylvania won't know this, but I mean, she does, because we always get her like an assortment of the smaller bags of bird seed, because she has so many different feeders.
Yeah, and the first thing everybody says when they come and look at the bird seed is, my God, that's so expensive. But Kohl's is a premium blend bird seed mix. We wasted a lot of time buying these other seed mixtures, and they always had, whether it's different fillers, debris in there, we had problems constantly, insects coming into it. So we really just narrowed down, like we were talking about with your father and the American Dream, we just want to sell the best products and everything that's out there. So I can tell you, these are all, their seeds are treated, these bags, they're nitrogen sealed, so we never have any problems with insects in there. It's very clean.
That's very important.
So it actually turns out to be a good value, because there's no waste at all that goes in there. The next thing I want to talk about real briefly is, of course, with bird seed, hey, everybody wants bird seed that's out there, and that includes the squirrels. So there's a lot of effort that goes into creating and finding these different squirrel-resistant bird feeders. I've just brought a couple examples in. They have all different strategies and modes of operation and stuff, but this is a basic design where the bird seed goes in here. A bird can perch on this and reach the bird seed. A squirrel lands on there and it draws it shut. And we sell lots and lots of different squirrel resistant feeders.
I like
all
that
different
one.
strategies.
Me too.
Yeah, I brought this in because it's nice red color, and I thought it'd be a great Christmas
Yes,
gift.
I hadn't even noticed that. I really like that.
But I also brought in, and it's on the floor here, I don't know if we can get a picture of that, the Squirrel Buster feeders. Now, the Squirrel Busters, they make a few different sizes, from Squirrel Buster Plus to the regular to Thistle Feeder to the Mini. Those have been very, very, very dependable as far as being squirrel-resistant feeders that are out there. So again, my whole point is, we're there to help you too, where it's a matter of matching the right seed to the feeder that you want, and that type of thing. And I also, we have to say, the selection varies with each store. The things that you see here on the set may not be exactly what you're, what's in the store. So
Right.
call ahead of time
Absolutely.
if you want to double check the inventory that's
Right.
on there.
Okay, bird baths.
So we want to provide food, which you've talked about. It's important that they have access to water. And in the wintertime, when water starts to freeze over,
Right.
a bird bath heater can be very, very useful and helpful. And then I also wanted, this is what's called a platform feeder. On this, basically, the food is out there. It's accessible to all types of birds and wildlife, and so again, that goes on. Now, I thought this was neat. Again, Peggy loaned me this picture. Hey, we're talking about bird seed and bird food and bird baths, but what nature provides is wonderful, and I thought this was a nice way to implement and display that.
Okay, let's show us a few more pictures. Yes.
And that's the bird baths we were talking about. So we're talking about providing the food, providing the water, and of course the others providing the shelter. And there's any number of different bird houses that you can offer. Again, I just brought
I love that one.
a couple of unique
that
ones in here.
series is just beautiful.
Exactly. Almost, I'm going to say like literally 98% of what we sell in the bird section is American made. I think that's real important to me. So this would be an example. This is made by a company. It's called Heartwood.
It's so cute.
They're made in Mississippi. They recycle cypress wood, so it's naturally decay resistant. They come up with a lot of interesting designs that are there. And then I want to go back to our pictures where I think, if I remember, we found a new use for these bird houses.
And I
what we got
so enjoyed this, David. As David did, because he conspired with me in this one.
Yeah. Let's see
I think we've got one before it. Let's see.
Yeah.
what's coming up next with our pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, this is the shelter you were speaking of.
Right, exactly. We're showing all these all these birdhouses and stuff, but I did want to remind everybody, and we are in the gardening business, of course. It's really, these are nice, fun things to play with and supplement with, but really it's all about the plants. They provide the shelter, they provide the food, they provide the habitat. But this is what I was thinking about, a way to repurpose or get a little more out of these birdhouses.
That is so cute.
And this is the fun thing. Of course, I've been into the miniature gardening, whether it be in containers or in the ground. This one happens to be in the ground, and this was a summertime picture, actually. And when David started carrying these things, it's 3 or 4 years ago, I think, I purchased this one because it looked like it is a church. And just beautiful. And I said, I can do that. And so I created an area for it in the garden. It became a focal point. And then he came along and he said, okay, I've got another project for you. We have these wonderful, wonderful little figurines that we have in the miniature garden section. Actually, it's in the greenhouse at Fair Oaks location. And there's the nativity. And so in front of the church, at David's request, I took these wonderful little things and put them there, and it was fun.
It was.
Well, the garden changes with each season,
That's
whether
right.
it's in
That's
miniature or in life size.
So let's hold that thought,
Right.
take a quick little break, and come back with some more of these miniatures. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking about great gifts for the holidays, for Hanukkah, for Christmas, for New Year's. I think we should start a tradition and do New Year's gifts, don't you? Give us a little more time to shop.
No.
I agree with Peggy. Enough's enough.
That's right. That's right.
Do it now.
That's right. We took advantage of a little filming that we were doing at our Fair Oaks location a week or so ago. So let's take a look at that with some great ideas.
Thinking gifts for gardeners, let's think about something that's just fun. Rosemary. Everybody enjoys using this, or should, when they're cooking, and I use it frequently. I have grown it successfully in my windowsill over the sink, where I'm careful to be sure that it's watered properly. And so you can snip on this all winter long. Put it in an attractive pot and you'll really enjoy that. Reading. Over winter is a great time to read, and so books make an incredible gift for gardeners. A little off the beaten track, but very interesting now, is beekeeping. And it's amazing how many people are doing that. There's a cute little book that says The Rooftop Beekeeper. And I think it's wonderful that we also have honey here, and it's from Stratford Hall, and it's made, never heated, all natural and without chemicals. Great to have that. Thinking books again, and what's interesting and what goes well in the winter time are terrarium crafts. And so here's a nice book on making terrariums. And there are so many choices in the type of terrariums that you can make. I particularly like this little rectangular one that we have here. And the children really do enjoy this kind of thing. We have so many beautiful things in the statuary section. Gardening, miniature gardening, fairy gardening is very popular right now. And there are some of the cutest little animals that make great little gifts for gardeners. There's a little mouse, couple of little mice. Here is a little mouse that has a broom and a dustpan. Just great. And two little bunnies, all very much in love, huh? And guess what? There's also a book on gardening in miniature. Give you some thoughts, some ideas. A little bigger bunny here. I love this little one. In fact, I love bunnies just tucked in the garden. At the edge of a shrub, you can have a number of these things. And if not bunnies, why not something perhaps with a little bit of humor connected? Isn't this a cute one? Normally I'm not into that, but I think this one is really precious. I do feel that everybody enjoys an amaryllis at Christmas time. And so we have different types of amaryllis. This is a small bulb because the flowers are quite small, but they have great impact. Go for the bare bulbs here. Those that come non-boxed. If you want really big, this one will probably have 3 shoots coming out of it. It happens to be a gorgeous white. But if you want to give all in a kit, then this has a little pot, the soil, and a smaller bulb in that. So think about the gardeners in your life, or those that you would really hope become gardeners and that you'd like to share your love with. Give them something to enjoy that's related to gardening.
Those are great ideas. We should mention, though, that we did this at the Fair Oaks location. So each of our stores have pretty much the same, but a little different items as well. Right. So you might check with each location before if you're looking for something specific.
Absolutely, and having that difference between the stores is a real plus most times, because you find a little different.
As long as we don't allow it to be a frustration.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But you just really, those were all great ideas. And to me, we don't have the time here except to just barely scratch the surface of all the different ideas. And what's so nice with gardening is you can express your creativity in so many different ways, not just the plants, but with the statues and the figures. In this next picture that we have here, I thought this was a nice lead-in also. You can customize and adapt your garden just like it's constantly changing with season to season. Again, and here we're talking about in miniature, but it doesn't matter whether it's life size or miniature. You can do this. You make it yours, your own distinct personality. And here I know Peggy took these houses, they're just built out of cement and Dlane natural cement. But with just a few minutes of time and effort, she goes in there, doctors up, paints it, and customizes it, and makes it her own. And you can do the same thing. So take a good look at that little house, and then take a look at the next version that Peggy has to show us.
Yes, I did. I was creating this over the last 2 or 3 days, and everyone seemed to enjoy it. At least they told me they did. The actual picture right now that you're seeing are the little miniature things that we have, I know, in the greenhouse at Fair Oaks. And I just so love them because they're so perfect for those miniature gardens, right down to the little gift packages that are wrapped. But if we travel with the camera just in front of that, I'm going to put my hand on the little house that I'm so pleased with. I am not a painter, but I do paint if I decide that's what I need to do. I don't know if you can go any lower with that camera or not. I decided, because we've got several of these concrete houses out at the Fair Oaks location, I decided to paint it as though the fairies had painted it, and I wanted it to be very bright. And I had such a good time doing that. And then the little characters that I have with that display actually are those that I have collected over the years myself. But we have some absolutely beautiful things, from the beautiful little fairies, which I just adore. We've got a number of those at that location, and we do have these houses, and I will have one at the Fair Oaks location on display that I have painted and one that I have not painted. But there's a lot of fun and a lot of pleasure, and these do make incredible gifts.
Great. All right, well, we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, Dlane Hawthorne is going to be with us, so stay tuned. All right, our family has grown again. We'd like to welcome Dlane Hawthorne to the round table here. Dlane works so diligently behind the scenes. She's the voice you hear on the phone when you call in for your questions. She decorates the set so beautifully, and she keeps us on track.
And sometimes she's our hostess.
That's right. And sometimes she's our hostess
with the mostest.
That's right. So thank you for all that you do, Dlane, and thanks for coming on with us. We were talking about gift ideas, and plants are a great gift idea too. So you're
my favorite in front of you right there.
Hold that up and let David kind of talk a little bit about that.
Well, of course, we have our traditional plants of Christmas, like poinsettias and Christmas cactus and amaryllis, we all know, but I'm just saying, hey, think outside the box a little bit.
Right.
To me, cyclamen are, I can't get enough of them. I love them. They're like, to me, one of the best values you can have also, because they last for such a long time.
They do, and if you put them in those self-watering pots that we have at the garden center, whoa.
Right, so that one that you're getting good close-up on, you can see it has sort of the ruffled petals and the flowers, and like Peggy, I gave you a miniature to put in there again, just sort of try to show the variety that's out there.
They're great colors, Dlane, aren't they?
Oh, beautiful.
Work well together also.
Now, sometimes I've heard them referred to, people call them the poor man's orchid, but orchids, again, can be phenomenal.
I've got one over here.
And again, just a huge selection and diverse range of those. The one that Debbie's showing you right now is called Miltonia. It's not the easiest of them all to grow because it likes cool temperatures. But just like the cyclamen also likes cool temperatures, if you have a part of your house that's staying, more like 60 degrees or something like that, these could be good choices for that environment.
Right. Look at that combo.
Oops, sorry.
Wow.
Get it up there. There we go. There we go.
Absolutely.
And Dlane, look, I know you brought this over. That's so cute.
Oh, that is neat. The little gingerbread house.
Very cute.
Yeah.
In the combo garden.
Yes, it has a little bit of everything in there, but very special for this season. Kids would really enjoy that with the little treats on the outside.
I know your nieces and nephew would love something like that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. This would be right up their alley. And plants, it's great to get children started on plants, and something like this is a great way. These are easy care and good starting plants.
Presentations, everything.
It really is.
Now, Diane, I know you've been a part of the Merrifield family, well, longer than I have been. I've been there for 18 years, but you started well before that.
I'm right up there with you, David, and as you know, we both came out of Arlington, together, and my sister had recently passed, and my father had been working with Merrifield Garden Center on their advertising for many years, and he loved the family, loved Debbie, and Bob Warhurst was a legend in our household. So he said, go and pour yourself into work there. They have plenty of work you can do. They're good workers, and you'll come out and you'll have learned something. And it has been an amazing journey because I never went back, but coming from the Jesuits where it's pursue every aspect of everything, I totally understood where Bob Warhurst was coming from. And I've never seen a person that was so adamant about and just joyous about learning and learning from you and helping you to learn and helping people along and just all the beautiful aspects of life. And the best thing he ever did, I have to say, is marry Debbie's mother, Billie Jean.
That's for sure.
She is my touchstone every day. But you jump right in, and there's a belief that Bob Warhurst exudes that you can do it. And by him saying that to you, you can just do just about anything, and you do. And he gives you opportunities, that you just would not get anywhere else. And he has the ability to look at people and see what they would be good at, and put them right in that position, and then back them up. If you painted something or created something, he's there by nightfall to see it, to examine it, to applaud you for it, and then if there's anything that he can help you make it better, he's right there to support you. They've always been, and for so many people. And the book is just an excellent way to understand a lot of that, that why people, when I first came in the phone room, everyone that was calling was his neighbor. Bob has many neighbors. Everyone loves him.
I'm so sorry we have run out of time here. We'll have you back next time and get some more of these stories. But thank you all for joining us so much. We hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And happy holidays.